What's happening? It's Chris Hall here. You are now tuned into the Chris Hall Show, where we discuss dating, relationships, and as you can see, much more. Let's get this background music off. Perfect. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. Y'all come on in. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in so we can keep the algorithm going. So today I decided to go a little left. With a different type of topic. I've been wanting to discuss something like this, or situations or issues like this for a while now, but due to the fact that for the most part I have a dating and relationship type of content, I try to keep the content streamlined. I try not to go too far away from the content because some say you may lose your audience. So I thought about it for a while, and then I came to the conclusion. I said, look, this is my channel. As much as I appreciate everybody watching my channel, it's still my channel. And I like to discuss things that I am passionate about. Some things I used to be passionate about that I'm not passionate about anymore. Some things I was not passionate about that I am passionate about today. So I just wanted to make sure that I give out the best type of content that I possibly can. As you come on in, go make sure you hit that like button, The link, let me see, where is it at? Yes, there it is. The link to call in is pinned in the chat. If you would like to call in and voice your opinion on some of the things that I talk about, or if you have any questions, concerns, critiques, some things I could do better, some things you can do without, either or. I accept all type of criticism, whether constructive or otherwise. Please, let's be respectful. That's all that I ask. And that should be on camera. Now, I will tell you, if you get on camera, this is on YouTube. So make sure that you are presenting yourself in the best way that you would like yourself presented across the World Wide Web. So moving on from that, real quick, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed already. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you are alerted anytime that I drop some new content. Now, for special occasions like this, I like to pour me a glass of wine. I know it's going to look weird in the green screen, but just bear with your boy. For nights like this, I like to get a glass of wine because we're going to have a very, very in-depth conversation tonight. I have no notes whatsoever. There's some things that I want to talk about, some subjects, but this conversation can go anywhere. So let's talk racism, right? So let's go with the definition of racism first and foremost on how the internet defines it. Oxford Dictionaries defines racism as prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Now, I would say this. I have a more simplified definition. As you know, sometimes words and definitions can be progressive and end up changing as time goes on. I'm sure racism, this wasn't a definition in 2000, or 1996. I'm sure that racism, the definition has changed. As far as I know, racism is going to be the discrimination or hatred for someone based solely on the color of their skin or their race. That would be racism. All of these other things, I'm not sure, but I get it. So one part that I don't like about this definition is the ending part. And that's what we're going to talk about mostly today. The ending part says typically one that is a minority or marginalized. to me, what this does is this gives minorities and marginalized individuals a license to be racist without prejudice. And that's exactly what it does. It allows black folk to be blatantly racist to white people without any type of consequence. I'll give you an example. When I used to do I remember I told y'all the way this whole show kind of started, the Chris Hall show kind of started, was over the pandemic when I used to have Zoom parties. I used to have Zoom parties and I used to ask just a gang of thought-provoking questions to my friends and family who would come and join. Everyone was bored. No one had anything to do. We're all trapped in a house or working from home. It was nice just to get online and see familiar faces, pour yourself a drink, have a conversation, and a couple laughs. Now, during those series of conversations that we had during the pandemic, I would ask a question that would turn some heads. It was definitely a difficult question to ask. One of those questions is, I ask it here with you today. One of those questions is it racist to say black power? Is that acceptable to say black power? Most people in that group were black. If I can really think about it, I would say all of them, or at least a minority. Because let's face it, most of us hang around people who look like us. I mean, it's just the human experience, right? You grow up in a black neighborhood, you hang around black people. So I would ask them, is black power racist? Or do you have anything, do you agree with people? That's how I ask, I think. Do you agree with someone saying black power? Most people agreed. Some people agreed. It was a resounding yes. Absolutely, for sure, black power. But then when I ask, well, if a white person says white power, what do you think about that? They immediately called him a racist. Now, I ask you, what is the difference between just saying the word, don't put any type of precursors on the person? That's the problem that I have with having a conversation, is that when you want things to go your way, you'll start piling on things that I haven't posed on the question. The question is simple and plain. If a black person says black power, is it racist? Versus a white person, not a racist white person. I'm just saying a person of Caucasian descent, a white person. If he or she says white power, what do you say about that? And a lot of people could not communicate to me effectively why one is better than the other, or one is more accepted than the other. What most people say is that saying black power, you're trying to empower the disenfranchised, or empower a certain minority group who is not historically in places of power. But then I ask you, are there not black people in power at all? I mean, how about this? We had a black president, not once, but twice. There is actually no higher position in the United States of America to be in than the president of the United States. And we did that not once, but twice. How many people have to be in power of color for it to not be okay to say black power? And I segue into this. What I've noticed is that your average black person does not want to give up what I call, or what's called, and I didn't coin the phrase, the victimhood mentality. If you lose the notion or the narrative or the power, I guess, for lack of a better word, of your victimhood status or mentality, you now have to look within yourself for any issue that comes your way. Let's take, for instance, a black woman. If a black woman is a random black woman, random white lady, is in a public space and there's an argument of some sort, the black lady can call the white lady a Karen. They can call her all type of names, derogatory names. You can call them a cracker. You can call them all type of names. Mind you, let's say there was a valid disagreement between you and this young lady, right? You're cursing her out. She's cursing you out. You're calling her a cracker, a honky, this, that, and the third. If that white lady calls you the N-word, people all around, black people and white people alike, head will start spinning. Why? Because we are hypersensitive to words, triggered even. Now, the way I look at things is I step outside of my identity. A lot of people identify with a lot of categories about themselves. I'll take myself for instance. I'm light-skinned, right? What they would call light-skinned. So if someone is talking bad about light-skinned guys, I would jump up because I identify as light-skinned. If someone is talking about tall guys, I'm 6'3", I would be considered tall. I identify with being tall. Guys with a beard, that's me. Bald head guys, that's me. Black guys, that's me. So this means that any derogatory statement to any one of my identities, I would get triggered and have to respond. And with that type of mentality, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble and be blinded by a lot of things because you will not honestly judge people. You will not honestly judge them because they share your identity. They share your reflection when it goes back to race. Due to the fact that someone shares your reflection, you're going to give that person an advantage over the other because they share an identity like you do. The other person may share some of them. Like I may see a white man, we share the same chromosomes, being male, but we don't share the same race. So I may not identify with him wholeheartedly. But if it was a black male who's tall, light-skinned with a beard, I literally identify with this person from top to bottom. That's not how you should look at things. Once you're able to step outside of self and discern situations for what they really are, that is when you will grow as a human being. And I wasn't always like that. You got to understand, and I spoke about this before, people on YouTube who are making content, these motherfuckers ain't Nostradamus, okay? These niggas ain't the omnipotent ones. They're not God. We're just regular people turning on a camera and voicing our opinion, just like you. The only difference between me and you is you don't have this stuff. That's it. I bought some stuff and I'm doing some stuff. That's it. There's absolutely no difference between me and you. Now, once you step outside of yourself, you're able to judge things. During the pandemic, a lot of things slowed down. And I was able to actually sit and pay attention to things outside of my normal routine. We all kind of have a normal routine and we get up every day, we go to work, we come home, we change clothes, we go to the gym, we work out, we leave, go home, shower, eat, watch, some basketball, watch a couple highlights, play some 2K, go to sleep, wash, rinse, repeat. Once things changed a little bit and I was able to slow down, I end up paying attention to things. And it had dawned on me that, wow, I was in my mid 30s and I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about, let me not say I don't know anything. Let me not say that. I am not as involved as I should be in my own community, in my country. And I think these things happen as you get older. You become more mature. You start focusing on things differently, focusing on different things, not just partying, women, drinking, smoking, this, that, and the third, just having a good old time. No, I started focusing on some things. And one thing happened to me during the pandemic that I didn't expect to happen. As I perused through YouTube and I started talking to different people that I wouldn't usually take their opinion. I have a coworker who's a red-pilled individual. I used to always reject all of his talking points, everything he says. I just didn't want to hear it. Not because I had opposing views per se, but like I said, at that point in time, it just wasn't in my wheelhouse, to be quite honest with you. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse to be talking about, social justice issues, things going on in the community, mayoral races, the president, who I'm voting for, things like that. I didn't think so. When I first started voting, the only thing that I knew about voting is that Democrats were for minorities, being black people. Republicans were for rich white people. That's who they cater to. And that is the gist of my knowledge. And I know what you're saying. Damn. Isn't that true? Right? I know what you're saying, because most of us in a black household were never taught anything about politics, economics, finances, budgeting, none of that. All that our parents told us, our grandparents, our mamas, or whoever, was just to save money. And mind you, it's not their fault. That's what they were taught. They hadn't learned any differently per se, as far as what to tell a young adult. So that's what they told you. So I would vote Democrat just to vote Democrat, because I thought that voting Republican was for white people. We were supposed to vote Democrat until a Democratic president or candidate gets chosen as the president of the United States. That's how I looked at it, right? And I know there's some people who are watching this who are hip to what's going on and was like, damn, you really thought that? Yes. And if you don't know, most black people that I talk to about this thinks the exact same thing. Why? It's because black people have what's called a groupthink. What we do is, instead of doing the research ourselves and actually going to seek out knowledge about this, because we will seek out anything else. If we want to seek, if we want to know how to open a business, we want to know how to do a makeup line, we want to know how to change a tire, we'll go look for that type of stuff. But this stuff right here, this stuff, these, ancient black myths and tropes and things like that, they just get passed on through generation and generation and generation. A bunch of lies, a bunch of misnomers and misconceptions about things in the United States. So I end up watching certain content like Anthony Brian Logan, Officer Tatum, Jesse Lee Peterson, Larry Elder. I started listening to some of the economic teachings of Thomas Sowell. And a lot of you all probably have no idea who I'm talking about. Why, you may ask? It's because I'm of the opinion that black people, past, present, and future, have been lulled to sleep. we have been rocked to sleep to believe any narrative that the liberal media wants us to believe. I even noticed it when I look at conservative Republican men or women. Just me looking at them makes me feel like they are racist. And I had to check myself like, damn, this is just a person voicing their opinion. But what we do is we ourselves are stereotyping the prototypical conservative white male or female. And we're just saying they're racist. Now, isn't that strange? Is that we are judging someone by the color of their skin instead of the content of their character. I'll let that marinate for a minute. See if y'all remember the quote. So at that time, Larry Elder was coming out with a documentary called Uncle Tom. And if you don't know what Uncle Tom is a derogatory term that is used to a black person who has sold out. And the word Uncle Tom has always been strange to me, because I don't know a lot of people in the hood that wouldn't kill somebody to get out of the hood. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic, but you get what I'm saying. Most people in the hood would like to get out of the hood. Most of your favorite rappers, R&B singers, politicians, you name it, moved out of the hood. Do you think Rick Ross stays in the hood, in the ghettos? Do you think Lil Wayne lives in the hood? What about Moneybagg Yo? What about Yo Gotti? Lil Baby? He might still stay in the hood, I ain't gonna lie. No, but yeah, so black people, to revoke your black card, they will call you an Uncle Tom. So now you have an Uncle Tom stain on you everywhere you go. So everyone is going to look at you as an Uncle Tom. It's similar to when we were kids and somebody would talk like this, actually pronounce their words, pronunciate, and know how to communicate effectively. What would us as black people say to that other black person? Why are you talking so white? You talk like a white boy. And we would say that in disgust. We wouldn't say that to champion them like, wow, your vocabulary is advanced as those white kids we see in the private school. Keep it up. Tyrone was the first black name I could think of. No, we would use that as a negative term, even as kids. So I watched the documentary Uncle Tom. And Uncle Tom was just a documentary of a handful of conservatives just talking about their journey in being red-pilled, how they awaken out of the slumber of the Democratic Party. And I didn't know what none of this stuff was. I had no idea, but I was intrigued by it because most of the things they were saying, I agreed with. And when it came to politics on the Democratic side, I didn't even know what they stood for. The only thing I knew is that anytime I seen a politician talk, I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I don't like, anytime I heard a politician talk, and this goes for Obama, this goes for Clinton, Bush, anybody, any politician whatsoever, I always thought they sounded disingenuous. I like a person talking to me just like this. That's why a lot of people can't stand the way I talk, because it's more direct. And as I was listening to it, I was like, wow, this makes perfect sense. And then I kept on searching. I kept on digging, and I started finding more people. Candace Owens. I watched I think the BET Summit or something like that with Candace Owens and Killer Mike and T.I. I seen that. And I seen T.I. try to berate Candace Owens, and everyone try to berate her and not let her speak. Then when I went and watched her in private, I agreed with most of the things that she was talking about. And I was like, wow, I'm actually a conservative Republican and did not even know it. A little personal note. My grandfather passed away, as some friends of mine may know, last year, right? I did not even know that he was a Republican. I did not know until his funeral, until my family members went up there and said their piece and, had a few jokes and stuff like that, just trying to lighten up the mood, obviously, and about politics. And I didn't even know that. And it felt so bad that I got red pilled so late in the game, because I would have loved to talk about these things with him. See, what some of you have to understand is you have to be an individual. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be white. You don't have to be gay. You don't have to be straight. You don't got to be Kappa. You don't got to be Alpha. You don't got to be Beta. Just be an individual and judge things as what they are. Have some discernment to yourself. It is so funny, going back to racism. When I talk to your average black person about racism, I've now set a mental timer in my head to see when are they going to go all the way back to slavery to make their point. And I would say someone bringing up slavery in a 2022 conversation about what's going on today is absolutely disingenuous. Absolutely. And I refuse to have conversations with people who do that. I never understood why they did it until I started speaking with more and more people. And I started realizing that it is in a black person's, I don't want to say DNA. I'm trying to think of another word for it. But we've been taught this. It's inherently inside of us. We grow up this way. When I worked in Belle Glade, switching gears here to Donald Trump, that's when my eyes were really open on how sleep the black community really was, when I seen everyone turn on Donald Trump as if now he is literally the grand wizard of the KKK. It was the most insane thing that I ever watched. When I worked in Florida, as some of you know, I go to random clients' houses for quite some time now, whether in my 9-to-5 or in my business. I've seen a lot of people. I've had a lot of conversations with people from different walks of life. And when I worked in Belle Glade, which is a predominantly black, I would say impoverished neighborhood for the most part, in South Florida, and I would go inside a black person's house, they would freely talk negatively on Donald Trump, thinking that because we are both black, that we identify with each other in everything that black people believe in. So an example of that is, so I have a friend, a female friend. She's African American. She had posted a post about something about the Olympic Committee with something about swimming, to where a black swimmer was trying to get a certain brand of head cap, the cap that they put on to keep their head in keep the hair in while they're swimming, specifically for black swimmers because of the texture of their hair. Now, the committee declined said advance. They said, no, we've been using the same swim caps and it hasn't been a problem. Why do we need to now make an exception for black people's hair? Now, little do you know, there are black female Olympic gold medalists for swimming with the same swim cap that they've been wearing. So when I seen the post, when she posted the post saying that this was racist, I replied and I said, how is this racist when not only are there black gold medalists, but everyone else plays by the same exact rules and they lose as well? What about the white people who's catching L's from wearing this wave cap? Right? And it was so shocking due to the fact that I disagreed that something was racist. A friend of mine for, I think now probably about 4 or 5 years, asked me, well, what do you identify as? And I looked at the message and I sat there for a second. I was like, wow, even if someone is your friend, once you separate from the black struggle, the black plight, and you have your own point of view on things, they will wonder, are you even black? Is that not crazy? I can be a fan of the Lakers, but give them constructive criticism in what they're doing in the offseason, how they're playing in the game, how LeBron's playing, how Russell Westbrook is playing, how the team is constructed. I can still be a fan and be constructive. And that is the problem with modern women today. Oh, you think I wouldn't round it all off somehow? Oh, yeah. That is a problem with modern women today, is that you all are group think. You don't want to be individuals, because women, I understand, innately you are drawn to people. So you like to be inside of a group. And y'all are now a double minority because you're black and you're a woman. I don't know how a woman is a minority, but it's like a double victim group. You're black and a woman. So at any point of time, if something doesn't go your way, you can use one of the two trump cards. God forbid you use both. Now you can use you're black and you can use you're a woman. Think about this. Can a man do, the only thing that a black man can say is that I'm black. He can't really use anything else. And think about it. What exactly do Asian men complain about? What about, I don't know, Indian men, German men? They don't have another protected class to identify as, to either give them an excuse or to propel them to higher places because of what they identify as. Going off racism for a minute. Like I said, I can talk about that for a long time, but I want to really get into the next subject. If you want to hear more videos like this, make sure that you jump in the comment section. Let me know of different things that you want to hear. I like the supporters' input, so I know what to put out, because I'm just going to put out whatever I want to put out. I get that, but I still enjoy and appreciate the input from the supporters. Are transgender women women? Now, this is a big one, right? And segueing from the what's wrong with black women today. So I've been scrolling around my black Twitter for a couple days now. When I say black Twitter, I mean Instagram. And I guess they haven't came out with black Instagram as a saying yet. So as I scroll down Instagram and I look at all the black media outlets that we look at, World Star Hip Hop, Shade Room, Spiritual Word, all these, blackety black woke type of hip hop cultured social media outlets. I never seen anything about Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas is I believe, collegiate level, if not Olympic level swimmer, who was first a man. And when Leah was swimming as a man, I don't know Leah's name as a man. I'd have to look that up. Let me see. It's a good question. What was dog name? William. So William Thomas ranked 462nd place as William Thomas. Once Leah transitioned to a woman, she then went and competed against women and is now ranked number 1. Talk about rags to riches. If you don't know how Leah Thomas looks, let me see if I can bring it up here. If I go to, there we go. So this is Leah Thomas here. William Thomas ranked 462. Leah Thomas is ranked number 1 and won a gold medal in her race. And you see her here, number 1. I wonder who number 2 was. Maybe they just said, I don't know. Maybe that's like a silent protest right there. I didn't even notice that. Where's 2? Did they just band together and said, forget dog? I don't know. But look at the difference in size from this dude. Look at this. Look at dog show. You see the girl in the back like, I cannot believe I'm about to race against this nigga. That's wild to me. Wild. But the funny part is, I don't see any black women. And when I say I don't see any black women, that means the black people, the black women that are in the public light who come out and talk about anything else, did not come to these women in this sport aid. Did not come out and say anything against this transgender woman who is competing against biological women. And I smoked on it for a few days. I thought about it. And I was like, why is that? And then I realized swimming is a predominantly white sport. So it's of my opinion that I believe, due to the fact it's a predominantly white sport, that black women don't give a damn about this. I'm being quite honest. I've had plenty of, no one has brought up Leah Thomas. I've talked to a few people and they know of it, but I have not seen any public outrage from women. I have not seen even a post about it. I seen one girl that I follow. I actually like this young lady. I think she's a poet of some sort. She's always talking very positive vibes. Really, really nice. Her page is really nice. There's no toxic stuff, no negative banter towards men. It is all positivity, and that's A-okay with me. She mentioned the subject matter, but didn't necessarily talk about this. And I wonder, who exactly do y'all identify with? Do you identify with women as a whole, or do you only identify with black women? Because I guarantee you, if Leah Thomas was going to the WNBA, which is a predominantly black sport, and you had a white male posing as a female, dunking on women and doing step back threes from the half court mark and posting y'all up like Karl Malone, you would be the first in line with picket signs in the street screaming Black Lives Matter. I can almost guarantee it. I guarantee it. And I thought that was a shame that we as United States citizens cannot band together in something that is so obvious that everybody, even transgenders, even the LGBTQ community should be with us lockstep, locked in arms to protest something like this. I think even the LGBTQ community can understand, and I believe Bruce Jenner said this as well, that biological men should not compete in the biological women's sport. We have these things set up for a reason. And it's become where progression is really starting to be regression. We're progressed so much as a nation that it's like we don't have anything else to do now. Well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's let men be women. Let's let women be men and let them all play together. Let's teach racism in school. I don't know. Let's turn our 7-year-old girl into a 7-year-old boy. It's almost to the point where you're bored. Same thing goes for racism. Racism is on such life support. They have to bring up the most silliest shit for racism. Cori Bush, I believe she's a part of the U.S. Senate of some sort. She's a political figure of some sort. I don't know. But what I do know is that she's a radical black woman on TV who spews some of the most silliest things I've ever heard, similar to Joy Reid and The View as a whole. And she is trying to pass a bill to where black women can wear their hair however the hell they want in the corporate space, because it is racist to discriminate against the texture of your hair. Is that not some of the silliest shit you ever heard? I cannot show up to a corporate office in a corporate meeting with a mohawk. You cannot. It is not professional. And it's as if we have to tear down all traditions until America has no tradition at all. In closing, I want to play a video. Now, some of you ladies might know Ketanji Brown. Ketanji, I can't pronounce the first name, Brown Jackson. She is going through the confirmation hearings. I believe it started yesterday, as they confirm her to be the new Supreme Court Justice. Now, as far as I've seen, these hearings last a long ass time. I seen one video, it's like 11 hours. I said, man, what the long as hell. So it's pretty much what I've noticed. I obviously haven't watched the whole thing, but what I've seen is this is a history. They pretty much dig into your past. Anything that you've possibly said, anything you did, anything you tweeted, a picture you had on Instagram back in Instagram was not that long, but something that you had on the internet in 1999, some pictures that came out, just anything, an affair that you had. If you farted too loud in the grocery store, they're going to ask you about it, from what I've seen. And they asked her a very interesting question on this subject matter. And I want to get y'all's input on this as I play it. Let's go. Here we go. So in this video, the young lady here, Senator Marsha Blackburn, is asking her a series of questions. She was asking her a few questions about gender and what was her take on it. Let's hear what she says.
You provide a definition for the word woman.
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a
The
biologist.
meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge,
So, as you can clearly see here, it has gotten so convoluted, this gender conversation. And mind you, those who are watching my page now, who may have come from Instagram or something like that, who know me from IG or just know me in person, probably never heard me speak about this type of stuff, probably don't even know what this stuff is, probably don't even care. But the good part is that you're still here, you're watching, and you're listening. I want to open up Black people's eyes from the Black struggle. All of y'all who are watching this have the luxury of watching this. That is a privilege all in itself. So, Miss Jackson, who seemingly has difficulties defining what a woman is. This is where we've gotten to where we have to govern our words so carefully that we can't even answer common sense things because the media and the liberal woke mob has taken over the spaces and has turned us into this weird nation to where we accept whatever. There are no standards to where Miss Jackson, I don't know how old she is, but she's been a woman for a long time before transgenders even existed in the public space. And she cannot today, 2022, define what a woman is.
What I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide.
Well,
so I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about. Just last week, an entire generation of young girls watched as our taxpayer-funded institutions permitted a biological man to compete and beat a biological woman in the NCAA swimming championships. What message do you think this sends to girls who aspire to compete and win in sports at the highest levels?
Senator, I'm not sure what message that sends. If you're asking.
Why must we be so woke and so disingenuous? So that's my problem. That's my issue. Is that Black women, even in positions of power, this is a high order. Okay? She is about to be on the first Black woman to sit on the Supreme Court justice. And she cannot, mind you, this white woman says however she feels towards this subject. But my problem is whenever women are confronted by another disenfranchised or discriminated upon or victimized group, they will not talk negatively or give their true opinion against another disenfranchised group. because they have to be victims together. She can't just be genuine and said, you know what? I don't agree with it. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. Now, I believe a transgender woman is a transgender woman. That I can agree with you on. And just like in the Special Olympics, no disrespect, respectfully, in the Special Olympics, someone in a wheelchair wouldn't come to the Olympics, the regular Olympics, and try to compete. Imagine me. I am not an Olympic athlete, but I will serve the shit out of a nigga in a wheelchair. Okay? Be honest. I am no Olympic athlete, but I'm sure the average person can serve someone with no legs or who cannot walk in basketball. I'm sure of it. So this is why you do not put handicapped people with able-bodied individuals, because why? Guess what? We are different. We're different. I have an advantage over someone in a wheelchair. Just like Leah Thomas has an advantage over biological women when it comes to sports that are physical sports, which are most sports are physical. But especially something like this that literally depends on your strength, endurance, lung capacity, arm wingspan, things like that. It depends on that. Buddy like 6'4". And this black woman, and mind you, I'm sure she's a nice lady. So this is nothing against Miss Jackson as a whole. I don't know her. I'm only commenting on subjects like this that black women can't openly see. The thing is, no one wants to get held to the cross and get stoned for what they say. So they would rather have a very vague, ambiguous answer or try to elude from the question or try to form it in a way to where Marsha Blackburn looks bad for even asking it. So instead of answering it, she'll try to make her look bad for even asking such a thing, as if that's not a valid question. What she's trying to do is prove how radical this black woman will be when she gets into the court. They want to make sure that you judge things. You're a judge, yet you judge things for what they are. How are you a judge and judge things? I don't even know how you judge that. You judge it by avoiding it?
Asking me about the legal issues related to it. Those are topics that are being hotly discussed, as you say, and could come to the court. So I'm not able to.
I think it tells our girls that their voices don't matter. I think it tells them that they're second-class citizens, and parents want to have a Supreme Court justice who is committed to preserving parental autonomy and protecting our nation's children. So
Now, look at how eloquently this white woman presented that argument. She did not fail. She did not wilter. She did not waffle. She read off of her paper that I'm assuming she wrote and said it in a straight tone, did not sugarcoat it, did not towel or tiptoe around it. She said it straight up, but for some reason, it's like the only thing we're strong against is white people. Is anything that has to do with racism. That's when we all galvanize with each other and go out there and speak our minds. That's when we speak our truth at that point. But something as simple as this, she couldn't. I don't know what. I'll watch that later. I don't know what the child porn. I can imagine what that is. I ain't going there. But my thing is, I just want black people to be more genuine, to stop being so disingenuous about black issues. At what point are we going to look at self and fix ourselves in our own communities instead of always looking for white people to fix our problems? That's it. That's all. Triggered, the live show. So on March 30th, make sure that you DM me at, what's the thing? Is it right? At ChrisHallATL. If you want tickets, I'm giving away free tickets. DM me for your free price of free admission. Free ticket to get in. It's going to be live. We're going to have a panel of about 3 or 4 people. We're going to have thought-provoking questions, and you never know what I might ask. It is one of the hottest new shows out. I enjoy it. I stand by it. I love talking about content like this because it gets people actually talking and together in a room. One day, don't steal my shit. I know that Jubilee does something like this. If you go look at their, I actually like some of their content. Jubilee, go YouTube it. Jubilee is like a social experiment type of YouTube channel to where they kind of bring people from different walks of life. I would love to have 4 black people and 4 white people in a room with the mediator, of course, to talk about everything that's really bothering them. Because I've been into white people's homes and they usually don't open all the way up until you give them a green light. Until you mention something that they relate to where you're like, oh, okay, what? Just like Trump say, you're one of the good ones. Now, as triggered as you may be from that statement, that's a true statement. Is that they look at some of us as not very good. And I look at some of us the same way, and I know you do as well. Anywho, that's it. That's all. I'll see y'all on the next one. I am Chris Hall. Thank you for watching the Chris Hall Show. And I'm out. Where is my music, bro? There we go.